Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Would you please stand? Join me in our pledge and stay standing for our prayer. Our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will you pray with me? Father, we are thankful for our country. We thank you for the principles that this country was built on, and we just ask that we're reminded of that and the sacrifices that were made for our freedoms. Father, we just thank you. We thank you for being our God. We thank you for watching and caring over us and looking after us. We thank you for wisdom that comes from above. We just thank you for being who you are and who we are. We just ask tonight, Father, that you'll be with so many of our citizens that are suffering because of the heat and not able to get out and do the things they want. We just ask that you be with them. We ask that you be with this meeting, Father, and that you do grant us wisdom, and that we are concerned about the community and not our individual wants, but that what's best for our total community. We just ask your blessing upon it tonight. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Don. Call to order our Guthrie Public Works Authority meeting of June 22nd. Our consent agenda, we have 3 items on the consent agenda, items A through C. First A is the approval of the Public Works Authority meeting of June 7th. B is an amendment and change order to move some utilities for relocating some water lines. C is approval of an amendment to add some sanitary sewer services to 2 homes. I will entertain a motion and a second for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any other discussion? Submit your votes, please.
All votes are in.
Let's see the votes. Unanimous approval of the consent agenda by all members present. Item number 3, discussion and possible action concerning canceling the Tuesday, July 5th City Council and Guthrie Public Works Authority meeting due to the proximity of the 4th of July. I will...
City Hall closed?
No. We were just asking if you guys had things that you guys are going to be out of town for, anything like that. Kim, would you like to speak to this?
That pretty much covered it.
Okay. No, if you guys are going to be here, we'll have one anyway, but we want to give you guys the opportunity. If you guys wanted to not have that meeting on the 5th, then we wouldn't have that, so.
I think we typically cancel the meetings.
I think when it's pretty close to the holiday
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of people out of town.
travel
I think,
and so forth, I will entertain a motion then to cancel our Tuesday, July 5th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion?
People on that one.
Vote, please.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous to cancel our July 5th City Council and Guthrie Public Works Authority meeting. With that, our Guthrie Public Works Authority meeting is adjourned, and I will call to order our City Council meeting of June 21st. Public comments. We've got some comments that will come at the particular items on the agenda. Consent agenda, we have a consent agenda A through F. A is, again, the approval of our City Council meeting of June 7th. B is to declare police badges that have reached their useful life obsolete and surplus property. C is approval of the Oklahoma Tax Commission agreement. This is involved with our new city increase in city sales tax. D is the approval of a grant from the Oklahoma Historical Society of $12,000. E is approval of a mutual agreement between the city and the county for our civil defense and disaster planning. F is approval of a budget amendment increasing the budget in the fire fund, grant fund, and hotel motel fund. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I would like to discuss C a little bit. I'm not familiar with that.
Okay.
Just real quick, if someone could explain what that is.
The Oklahoma State Tax Commission charges 1.5% to collect our sales tax from each vendor. Once that collection takes place, they remit it back to the state, to the city. I believe every city in the state of Oklahoma currently is underneath that operating agreement for the Oklahoma Tax Commission to collect our sales taxes. So that's it in a nutshell.
It's already in place, it just
Yes.
reflects the new increase in sales tax, effective July 1st, is that correct?
Yes.
July 1st. Any other items?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items A through F. Submit your vote, please.
All votes are in.
See the votes? Unanimous approval of consent agenda items A through F. Agenda item number 4, public hearing, discussion, and possible action on a request to issue a special use permit for the development of multifamily housing at 301 West Harrison Avenue. We have a couple individuals that would like to speak to this agenda item, I believe. Lynn, would you please go to the mic, introduce yourself, and identify the topic that you want to talk about?
Sure. My name is Lynn Bilodeau, fairly recent resident of Guthrie. I've only been here a year and a half. We live next door to the Publishing Museum. My wife, Sherry, is here with me this evening. We're at 215 South 2nd Street. I don't know. I know it's available for you guys to view. I don't know if anybody viewed the Planning Commission meeting from approximately 2 weeks ago. I'm going to try not to repeat everything I said there. It's going to be hard to not hit some of it again. I'm very passionate about this. I made a big deal out of the parking situation. I even showed each of the Planning Commission meeting members the letter from the city, or from the same developers, Bywater Development, to the city of Edmond, wanting to put in senior apartments. One of the big differences between the project and Edmond, and the only reason I address this is because Mr. Dotson specifically said, I don't know what the Edmond development has anything to do with this development. Here's what it has to do with it. They're planning on putting in 48 units, but including 60 off-street parking spaces, along with green space, attractive and hardy trees, brushes, recreation area, fitness center, library, community room. This is the big difference. There's 3.205 acres to do all that on. This development doesn't have 3 acres to work with. I just today, on your agenda, I believe it's page 63, I don't know if any of you, when I was trying to print out just the agenda, which is 2 pages, I accidentally just hit print and got 81 pages. Well, buried in the 81 pages is the overall development. You guys have page 63. My understanding is they haven't even acquired the property that is west of the publishing company. That's still AT&T property. I know they've entered into negotiations. I thought they were planning, from the last meeting, I thought they were planning on getting that whole thing and turning it into a parking lot. Apparently, they're just getting about 60 foot, but this plan shows that the alley gets closed. Now, would that upset me? That's my main way in and out of my garage. We don't have a front entrance. We have to go in the alley, and that's the main one we use from time to time. That alley from our house going back to the south is virtually untravelable. I mean, we're very fortunate. We have a small car collection. I've only got 2 vehicles. I'd take down that alley, and it's a 49 Studebaker and a 68 El Camino. I wouldn't take my wife's car down that. I wouldn't take any of my other cars down that. It would be dangerous. So that would bother me, but it's not just because I'm next door that I don't want it here. If I lived anywhere in Guthrie, I wouldn't want this project going in that building. It is, it ought to be the Taj Mahal of Guthrie. It ought to be something we're all a part of and we're really proud of. It shouldn't be turned into low-income apartments. We're losing part of history. I haven't heard anybody address what's going to happen to all of the priceless printing equipment. I was sitting out there doing some yard work. A fella pulled up there in an old pickup truck. He was from Kansas. He's a small publisher in Kansas. He drove down here just to look at the building because he heard about this project. And he said, what are they going to do with all the equipment? That stuff's priceless. This needs to be a museum. He didn't even live in Oklahoma, let alone in Guthrie. It's a shame. We were told there was going to be some kind of a micro museum, so I posed the question because I still don't know what is a micro museum. Is it 5 foot by 5 foot? Is it 10 foot by 10 foot? Mr. Mosley asked the same question of Mr. Dodson. And he said, well, we've got 2,700 feet on the first floor set aside. And Mr. Mosley said, is that for the museum? Well, no, that's the common area for the residents. And Mr. Mosley said, so that's going to be open to the public where the micro museum is. Well, no, by appointment only. Well, I'm sorry, that's not a museum. We still don't know of that 2,700 feet how much is dedicated to the quote micro museum. For all I know, and I know some of this borders on the ridiculous, it's a curio cabinet with one piece of equipment in it. I don't know what a micro museum is. Hopefully it's more than a poster. I mean, but I still don't know what it is, and it's definitely not preserving the history of that building. 30 seconds. I asked if there was really even a need for this. We were told they were commissioning a study. Just remember, Philip Morris commissioned a study on whether tobacco caused lung cancer. Mobil commissioned a study on whether electric cars were feasible. We already know the outcomes of those studies. You don't commission the study after you get permission to do the project. Could you imagine just because federal dollars were available to buy a new fire engine for Guthrie, doing that even if we didn't have a need for it? You want to put the dollars where the need is. My understanding is the old hospital project has been approved. They've actually got some funding going. There is some affordable senior housing going up there. I don't think you go.
10 seconds left.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ludo. We also have Mr. William Wheeler that would like to address this issue to us.
Thank you. Mayor, Honorable Council, when was the last time we went by and we actually looked at this building? I'm a lifelong resident of Logan County, and when I look at that building, I see what it looked like 40 years ago. I'm so proud, as is everybody I talk to in town, and I'm sure each of you are, I'm so proud to live in a town with buildings like this, and this is a wonderful building. But have we actually looked at it lately? It's falling down. It's in terrible condition. What we're missing in this conversation is a plan to fix it. I can't tell you that the Bywater Development's plan of senior apartments is my dream use for this building. I'd be lying to you if I told you it was. But they have a plan to put $6 million into this building to restore it to its former beauty. Does the city of Guthrie have $6 million to spend on this building? The Logan County Historical Society? The Oklahoma Historical Society? None of them do. I would prefer to see it as a museum forever. I would like my kids to have the same memories that I had as a school kid in Guthrie, walking to that museum and going through and watching those presses operate. I wish that that could exist for generations to come, but that's not our reality. Our reality is that none of the people who can operate that as a museum have the funds to do that. They don't. So if it can't be a museum, let's come up with a plan to restore the building to its former beauty. Let's come up with a plan to have that be the centerpiece, the showpiece of Guthrie once again. And the only plan on the table that I've heard, and I've been at all these meetings, the only plan I've heard is from Bywater Development. They have a plan to spend $6 million to renovate that building. They have a plan to follow all of the historical requirements to keep it a historic building, to keep it a centerpiece of Guthrie. They have a plan. Mr. Bilodeau, I appreciate his passion. I share his passion, and I respect his passion. But what's lacking is a plan. We have one plan on the table, and what's requested today is simply a special use permit. We're not talking about a yes or no vote on the final project being done. We're talking about the first step of a long, long project. a special use permit. That's the only issue on the table. If you vote yes tonight, you're not telling them they can do it. There are so many roadblocks that they have to go through, and they're aware of that. But they need your permission to start the project. And I just ask you to focus on the issue of, is there a plan? Does anybody else have a plan? Does the city of Guthrie have a plan of how to restore this building? Because it's in terrible shape right now, and if no action is taken, it's only going to get in worse shape. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wheeler. Are there any other members that the public want to make any comments on this particular topic? Okay?
Well, don't you?
Right. Is there anything from the applicant at all? Sherry?
My name is Sherry Mueller, and I appreciate your time, this honorable council and mayor, and then there's Randall Shaded. I'm a local real estate attorney here, and I do represent Bywater Development LLC and WRGM Ventures. And what we had asked, and we had put, I understand in your packet, actually, we were asking to have a motion to table this, not indefinitely, but to table this special use permit application until we had a little bit more information. And I would like to read a statement regarding this, please. My client, the development team of WRGM Ventures and Bywater Development Group, has proposed a comprehensive plan to save the abandoned and deteriorating State Capitol Publishing Company building, completely rehabilitate the structure inside and out, and reestablish its proper role in Guthrie as one of the architectural crown jewels in the downtown area, securing its viability for the next generations, including my children. This development team has over 50 years of combined experience, and the principals have developed and restored over 60 historic buildings during the course of their careers. And they have utilized this experience to develop a great plan for the building. The development team submitted a comprehensive response to the request for proposals made by the Oklahoma Office of Management and Enterprise, or OMES, the state agency charged with overseeing the disposition of the State Capitol Publishing Company building and ensuring it was conveyed into good hands with a good plan for its rehabilitation. This team's application was the highest scoring application among the pool of applicants by a very large margin. Accordingly, OMES awarded this team the right to pursue the development conditioned on the team securing its needed financing and complying with the City of Guthrie's historic rehabilitation ordinance and other applicable planning and zoning ordinances. At just about the same time as the OMES proposal was being reviewed and approved, the City Council of Guthrie passed an emergency measure requiring a special use permit for any proposal for development in the downtown area that contemplated 12 units or more for housing. Since this team's proposal was centered on creating high-quality residential apartments for Guthrie area seniors, the plan was the very first to be the subject to this new revision of the zoning ordinance. The team has engaged the community. We've met one-on-one with the city staff, community leaders, and representatives of the Territorial Museum. The team has met with a group of business and civic leaders and conducted a well-attended public meeting to describe their plans, gain community input, and build interest and support for their plan. These meetings were productive, and the vast majority of those attending these meetings expressed strong support for the plan. The team was also aware that there were those in the community who did not favor the team's plan, so the team made multiple requests to meet with some of those individuals and folks who opposed the plan, and none of these invitations were accepted. The team's application for the special use permit was accompanied by all the normally required documentation, and the plan was set to be considered by the Plan Commission in its meeting of June 9th. At that meeting, the commissioners and staff expressed that they did not have enough information about the project to make a proper recommendation, and so the plan was not approved for recommendation to the council.
Can I intervene a minute?
If you'd let me
Go
finish.
ahead.
Thank you. While the information presented to the Plan Commission was thorough and questions were fully addressed, the team understands that the future of this particular building is very dear to the hearts of the entire Guthrie community and is therefore going to be subject to greater scrutiny and consideration than other similar submissions might be. The team is anxious to submit full, comprehensive, and transparent documentation about the proposed development and to answer any questions that may be asked, but we are concerned while the new downtown special use permit requirements place a greater level of review and scrutiny on our proposal, the city did not set forth a new documentation standard or list required submittals to go along with the new special use process. We believe that those submission requirements should be established so the applicant knows exactly what documents, plans, and other items the city needs to review to arrive at a proper and educated determination on the application for a downtown special use permit. For example, the Plan Commission discussed the need for submission of a market study. This is a very unusual kind of request, and if my client had known this should be required, they certainly would have submitted that with our application. This is a new process, and my client's proposal is very first to be reviewed under the new requirements. But there will likely be future applicants, and I likely will be representing some of those future applicants, by others that are subject to this provision of the new zoning ordinance. And we would just like to respectfully suggest that a standard of required documentation should be established for such application. And not only for this application, but all of those who may come in the future with similar requests, and that there be a uniformly established process for reviewing such applications. This is a matter of fairness and process that I know we all want to ensure. Due to these concerns, the team has requested that the council table their item on this evening's agenda related to their request for a special use permit for historic rehabilitation of the State Capitol Publishing Company building until such time in the near future, not indefinitely, that they can together work with the city staff to arrive at the full range of documentation and information requirements that will apply to this portion of the ordinance and that will allow the council to act with full information and confidence in your final determination of my client's request. I would also like to clarify that my client did not ask that this application be tabled indefinitely, a term which implies a virtual withdrawal from consideration. In the memo to the city staff, this Buddy Morgan had sent, the team makes clear that they are anxious to, quote, work quickly and diligently with staff to arrive at the nature of additional materials desired. For all these reasons, we respectfully request that the council table this item to a future meeting, empower staff to work directly with the applicant and myself to arrive at a comprehensive list of submission documentation and take steps to make this list the standard for all future applicants for the downtown special use permit. So for that, I ask you that this be tabled at this time. I know I can't make a motion to do so. I would appreciate if someone on the council would make a motion for my client so that we have fairness in submitting exactly what is required, needed, and so that the council can make a better decision on our application. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Guthrie, you had a question?
Well, I was going to make a comment, but she covered it on the marketing study. I actually watched the Planning Commission meeting, didn't show up there because I didn't want to be in conflict with this meeting, but I did watch the entire meeting, and that's not the only thing he was short on as far as information. I mean, we can ask Cody and bring him up. He was short on multiple issues that he wasn't able to address, and you think that if you're going for a special use permit on something like this, you'd have all your ducks in a row, but that's not even the real issue that I have. We're only talking about a multi-unit family scenario for a special permit in the historic downtown Guthrie. That's all we're talking about. We're not talking about in Guthrie as a whole. We're talking about the historical downtown Guthrie. So that footprint is so small. It's the size of the cup compared to the room when it comes to the community. So
But
that's where I stand on it.
And it is very important. It is a small print, but it's a very large federally recognized historic area, which is so important.
And it is, and it needs to generate revenue too. It needs to be a revenue generator.
I agree, and we think that this is having senior citizens living downtown. That being said, though, you again, Mr. Bothroyd, have said that all our ducks weren't in a row. We didn't know. All we got was one sheet of paper that said, fill this out. It's your application. If we would have known that we needed a market study and this and that and the other, we did provide some documents to you. Again, we would be more than happy to have done that. We are now going to do that for you, and we're asking that you give us that right to do that. Have not indefinite time to do it, a short amount of time to get our market study to do it. I know we've got answers back from AT&T on their parking lot at this time, and to give us the chance that they deserve.
Okay, thank you. Oh, did you have other comment?
No.
Do we have staff comment?
Yeah, I do.
Please.
I want to hear what Cody has to say.
Cody?
Good evening. I appreciate everyone's opinion and the council members who have taken a look. For those who have not seen the Planning Commission yet, I just want to address the requested guidelines. I would say that, yes, they filled out an application. That gets them on the agenda. In my personal opinion, it's their responsibility to come up and make an argument for their application at that point. The application that they filled out, no, it doesn't outline every single thing that they need to bring. It gets you on the agenda, and that's what that is for. It requires some kind of formal legitimacy of an applicant. There are all sorts of people that we get requests from to have an item on or something like that, or to talk about specific buildings. Well, if they come to a meeting and request it, and our Planning Commission members, our Historic Preservation Commission members, they want to see it on an agenda, that's fine. But, their application was just to get them on the agenda. We don't outline the fight that they make on behalf of their application. And so I expressed this during the meeting. I was disappointed that the applicant didn't come with more information. There was no requirement, and I don't believe that there was any indication that a market study was required. It was just more of a gesture from our Planning Commission members to, it was Chairman Powell. I want to be very clear, and I can recite this very clearly. It came across as Chairman Powell was just offering them, dear applicant, can you tell us why this is needed? Can you tell us why there's such an urgency to make this happen? Can we overlook that parking might not be addressed quite yet, and, because of a high need or something like that? And quite frankly, the applicant just didn't provide. Mr. Dodson specifically, and a lot of respect to the entire Bywater team. I've enjoyed working with different members of their team throughout this. I do feel like staff has been accommodating and not only giving our time, but, working with them on a successful application. But Mr. Dodson kept referencing a state study, but then didn't actually provide the answers or the results of that study. And so our planning commissioners, a special use permit is a very conservative document. It's a very conservative request and recommendation made by the Planning Commission, and they didn't feel like they had enough information or answers from the applicant at that point. So if I haven't addressed everything, please let me know, and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
Is there any reason why the Planning Commission didn't ask for more information to come back to the planning?
That was just largely due to how a special use permit is constructed. It requires a 21-day notice to property owners within 300 feet, as well as a public notice in the newspaper. And those two dates that were assigned about 28 days in advance were June 9th, the Planning Commission, and tonight, the City Council meeting immediately following the Planning Commission. We don't typically, I think in the 18 months or so that I've been down in the planning department, there's been one instance in where an applicant did not go on the immediate next council meeting. But like I said, that was outlined in the public notice that we sent out.
But let's be clear, Mr. Vern Ogden was the one that didn't have enough information to make a decision at that point, and the motion came up to deny it, and the motion passed to deny it.
Correct. Your recommendation from the Planning Commission tonight is a
Denial.
is to recommend it is a denial. But, as Ms. Mueller stated, their team did contact staff and request for it to be tabled. I explained to her, the public hearing procedure, everything like that. We need to get it on an agenda if we've told the public that we would, and it seemed that they understood that.
Okay. Any other questions?
I think your question is really valid there. If they wanted more information, why didn't they ask for it?
I'll be able to answer that question. There has actually been circumstances that have come up since that point in time over the last month. There's a Senate Bill 1573 authored by Representative Sears that passed both the House and Senate. The Senate was a vote 40-0. The House vote is 89-3. There's overwhelming majority in the state of Oklahoma that the title holder to the building, which the Oklahoma Historical Society has the ability to go back and transfer ownership of this property for fair market value back to the local entity that either deeded it to them or another secondary donor that is a not-for-profit organization or a federally recognized Indian tribe with certain agreements and stipulations. So currently, the owner of the building is the Oklahoma Historical Society. The state of Oklahoma, including both the House and Senate and our governor, has signed off that the Historical Society has the ability to do their own process outside of OMES. So with all that being said, and planning and zoning's recommendation, it's staff's recommendation, you guys deny the special use permit and allow the process through the Oklahoma Historical Society to take place.
Other questions or comments?
So, just a question real quick that, so if we did deny it, would they be able to reapply at a later date?
No.
They can't go through the Historical Society's process?
Yes, they can for that process, but not the OMES process. Or through a process by the local entity that owns it
So
at a
let me-
future time.
Why do you want it tabled? Let's be clear on this.
Would you go to the mic, please? Thank you.
My question is, how long did the city know about that?
I can tell you, it was since 5/16/2006 or 2016 when the governor signed that into legislation.
Well, just saying, we filed our application after that. My clients have spent a whole lot of money on this project to do this, and to find out there was no hope in the first place for us in the beginning is what it sounds like to me. And I have to apologize to the folks that come in from Missouri to spend a lot of money here to try to do this.
The process for OMES began well before the legislative session, and you guys had the full ability to go through the legislative session, talk to state representatives, and lobby them to go in a way, shape, or form that wouldn't allow the title owner to have their own process,
It seems like we denied.
which is all public information.
We had an open meeting with him way before May, and denied it.
Denied
Is
what?
I remember. Denied the whole thing, and somehow we went back through a special use deal. I don't remember exactly how it came. Maybe we didn't deny it. I guess you discussed it. You brought up, I believe so, what you guys wanted to do. That's what it was, the special use permit. I'm sorry.
This is the
My
new
bad.
ordinance.
The ordinance, yeah.
I forgot
So-
what I came up for here now.
No, I was wondering why you-
I'm so shocked at all this right now.
I was curious.
You weren't aware of Senate Bill 1573?
Not at that time when we applied, I sure was not.
You weren't aware of it before coming in tonight?
I was, this afternoon, or this morning, Mr. Bilodeau is the one who told me about
Okay.
it.
So you were shocked that it's even brought up?
I'm sorry?
You were shocked that it's even brought up then?
Well, I guess so, because
Okay.
I didn't realize that you folks knew it that long. Mr. Bilodeau told me he found out different ways. I didn't realize the city knew.
Yeah, we follow legislation going through the state legislature. That's kind of what we do.
Well, I think that very unfair to anybody who's spending thousands of dollars to apply for special applications, to spend it on something you knew that was going to probably be denied in the end. That being said, I still don't remember what it was I was coming here to comment
Why you
for.
wanted it to be tabled.
So we wanted it to be tabled because we weren't aware of all these different things, and now I wonder exactly the bottom line of it all. But of the applications, a new application, we weren't told. We did ask them to table it or ask them for more time at the planning commission meeting, we were denied that. We were told it had to go on this, and now I feel kind of bit railroaded, and now I find out about this application.
You weren't denied based upon Senate Bill 1573 at the time. You were denied based upon not meeting even the most basic of obligations, up to and including parking spaces that are very well pointed out in our regulations of zoning.
Needless to say.
Correct.
We applied, we don't feel like we got a fair show. Obviously, we still don't feel
So
like.
you guys weren't aware of the parking spaces?
We are, and we've got that resolved,
Okay.
actually, so.
But did you have it at that point in time for the planning and zoning?
We asked for more time from the plan. I've been on the council before. I have never seen this before. And I don't understand why they couldn't have let us have another, whatever all their recommendations, so they could make an educated decision. If they would have denied it again, fine, they could have denied it again. But at least we would know that we have given them all the information that they were asking for and requesting for.
See, that's just it, Sherry. I didn't see, and I watched it again, I didn't see, and I'm trying to be partial here. But I didn't see in that planning commission meeting whatsoever where they asked for more. Okay, they were sitting there, Vern Ogden didn't have enough information,
Right.
okay? The other two did. So I never heard anybody specifically ask for more. I heard them ask for certain requests from Mr. Dodson that he didn't have.
Right, and that's what I'm asking, for more time for
That
those.
would be more.
For those things.
No, I understand, but I just,
Anyway, we just asked tonight that you please table it, give us some more time so we can get all the information that
Okay,
was brought up in the planning commission, please.
thank you very much. Okay, I will entertain a motion on this special use permit.
I guess I'm gonna make a motion to table it.
I'll second.
Further discussion?
I don't think we're hurting anything by giving them extra time. I mean, they were asking for information and they voted without the information. Well, let's give them the time to give them the information that they think will make the difference.
Reasonable time being,
I don't think we give more than, what time do you need? Let's talk about that. Come on, guy, you're gonna have to have an answer. You wanted it tabled.
Yeah,
can you go, I'm sorry.
Realize when you answer this, that you're the one that wanted it tabled. So you need to have an answer for it.
Would you just identify yourself and
Don't you agree?
then answer the question? Sorry.
I do.
That's what I was talking about on the whole planning thing.
Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
my
Go
name is
ahead.
Buddy Morgan. I'm with WRGM and joint venture with Bywater on this project. And grateful to be here tonight despite the fireworks. And Bruce, I'm grateful for you. I think the first meeting that we had together, you said you'd do everything you could to help us on this project because city was offered the building and they chose not to take it from the State Historical Society. I believe is
Prior to this legislation, prior to my arrival.
that right? Okay. And so, yeah, that was my first meeting with Bruce.
And prior to our capital improvement sales tax that was passed in February.
And prior to this council body.
Well, prior to this,
So there's been a lot of changes in
Sure.
that time. But go ahead and if you would, please address the timing
That's
issue.
what I want to know. What time frame do you need?
I think, a reasonable time would be to set an appointment with Bywater to come down here, sit in Bruce's office, figure out what we need to satisfy on this special use permit. We either do or we don't, right? There's got to be conditions on,
When's your date? Do you guys have to apply for OFA funding this fall?
there's 2 rounds. The next round will be first week of January.
Okay.
So it's a cumbersome process. There's actually a date next week, which is what we were shooting for, which is what we were pushing for. Now we've got to push it back 6 months.
So you guys will be looking for the spring OFA?
We'll be looking for a January application, spring award.
Okay, gotcha.
And so with the advent of the special use permit and the lack of direction that we have as developers, we do have a window of opportunity that's about 6 months. So we could run out to 6 months and run into a December council meeting Do I think that's reasonable? Probably not. Do I think we could get this down and figure out really if the council wants it? You know, there's a question that I have on a personal level. I don't know if this project's wanted or not. I've got people in the street telling me some things, and then I've got whispers in the background telling me others.
Well, I can tell you personally, I campaigned on a totally different use for that building.
Right.
Just personally,
Sure.
I did. Because again, it was sitting vacant, it was sitting, you know, unused. But to, you know, to make downtown basically, to put an apartment complex downtown in the historical part of downtown, I personally have issue with it. Again, I'm just one of 7 on this commission here.
Certainly.
Okay. I would say that you get 30 days. I don't think you get 6 months.
Right.
You know, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that you're back here on the 19th of July.
Could we do 45 days? Is that unreasonable?
I was saying August 1 or.
Yeah. I mean, something realistic. I mean,
Yeah.
to the end of the
First
year
week
is
of
just
August.
not realistic.
No, that's it. I have the same question Buddy has, because it really, say that they come back and they meet everything that's in the special use, is that still something that you guys desire as a council for that to be the use for that building?
I personally don't.
I
Well,
don't either.
it's-
After everything I've,
I'm just being honest.
and that's,
Yeah,
I
and
haven't.
I appreciate that.
Then what's the use of us going through this for another 30 days?
Exactly. I'm voting no on it. I agree.
I mean, we can kick the can down the road if we want to,
I hear you.
but you guys have every right based upon planning and zoning and based upon the new legislation that's based by the state statutes.
New information.
To go through the entire process, which it should go through, was by the title owner of the Oklahoma Historical Society, and see where it goes from there. Because they would have every opportunity to do something again in the future and bring this back before you guys again with all their ducks in a row.
I ask for 45 days for my client to table this motion for 45 days. I think that's very reasonable. I ask the council for that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Okay, we have a motion and a second to table.
45?
Are you going to amend it?
August 2nd or August 16th, you want to put a date on there?
See, it's such a conundrum I'm in on this whole deal, okay? Because first off, that thing's loud. I campaigned on a certain use for that entire building, and it has nothing to do with apartments, period. And it just doesn't, okay? And I made that comment when you were up here against this special use. I'm making it tonight. I'm not for it. I don't know who on this council's for it. Out of respect, I'm trying to maybe kick the can down the road here, but I don't, again, Bruce brings up a
Valid
good
point.
point. I move it down. That, you know, what is the sense of it, really? Because at the end of the day, I've got open speeches publicly where I've made on what that building should be. Okay, and it's not that, I'm sorry.
I just want to say that I'm of 2 minds right now. I would like to see the project and see what they're trying to do before I dismiss it. And so.
But we don't want to waste a bunch of financial.
But I don't know.
And I don't want to see a lot of finance go down
A couple
too.
people dislike it. I don't know if everybody dislikes it. So.
All right. We have a motion and a second to table this agenda item for 45 days.
August 2nd will be 43 days.
Okay, August 2nd. And we have a second. Is there any further discussion?
Never mind.
Go ahead, Cheryl.
No, thank you.
Is there any further discussion on the motion to table this item? Okay, if you're submitting your vote, if you're voting yes, you're voting to table it for 45 days. If you're voting no, obviously, you're voting against.
It needs to be tabled to a date certain, which I think was August 2nd.
August 2nd.
Second.
It's 43 days then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, August 2nd, specific date.
So does the motion need to be changed?
That'd be 42 days.
Is that your motion, whoever made the motion?
Your motion to August 2nd.
August
Correct.
2nd.
I kept saying 45 days, sorry, my fault. To August 2nd. That's the motion. It's been seconded. Any other discussion on that? Submit your vote, please. Let's see the votes. It, by a vote of 4-3, the motion to table did not pass.
I would like to make.
Do I have another motion?
I'd like to make a motion to deny the permit.
There's a motion to deny. Is there a second?
Second.
Need to clear the board.
Oh, sorry.
There's been a motion to deny, and there's been a second discussion. Any further discussion?
About, before you vote, Mayor, was the motion to deny?
Yes.
Motions really should be made in the affirmative, even if you're not for it, and then you vote. So it really should be a motion, even though, Councilman Wood, you appear to not favor this. If you would amend your motion to make it a motion to approve.
Okay. I amend my motion to
And then-
approve
and then
the
vote.
special use permit and then vote accordingly.
And then if you don't want the special use permit, you vote no.
Okay. So we have a motion to approve the special use permit application. And is there a second to that motion?
Okay, run it by me again. Motion really should be made in the affirmative. Whether you support it or not, it needs to be made in the affirmative. So Councilman Wood has voted to approve the permit.
His motion.
If it gets a second, then there'll be a vote. If you want to approve the permit, vote yes. If you want to not approve, you vote no.
I'll second it.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to approve the special use permit application. Is there any further discussion? Does there need to be clarification of what,
Nope. No is you don't, yes is you do.
that you're approving this? Yes, you are approving the application.
Correct.
No is you are not approving the application.
Right.
Everybody understand that? Yes. Okay. All right, submit your vote, please.
All votes are in?
See the votes? By a vote of 6-1, the application is disapproved. Item number 5, discussion, possible action on on the mayor's nomination for Historical Preservation Commission. My applicant is Lynn Bilodeau, who you've already heard from this evening. And that's, I submit that for your consideration.
Let's talk a little bit about that. I thought we were going to sit down and nothing against, I like Lynn a lot. I do. I've met with Lynn a couple different times, but I thought we were going to line out this historical board and these commissions. We've yet to do that.
Well, we were.
I thought
Then
we
let's
were
do
We
it.
were talking about it. We're going to talk about it at the retreat.
Okay.
Was a discussion
That's a couple
point.
days away.
Okay.
We can't wait 2 more days?
Hey, I'm just going by what happened in the last time, okay? We wanted to put, we were in favor of putting someone on, and this council made a majority decision to not do that until we sat down and went through the historical commission guidelines and everything else. We've yet to do any of it.
I thought there was a definition that because this was in a state statute, that there really wasn't anything else that the council could do with that
If that's
commission.
fine, like I said, I've
And
got
there
no
was-
problem with Lynn, and I'd be the first to put him in there, but.
And I will say that there was an error on my part in interpretation of what the ordinance called for, and that, in fact.
I still don't know that that's an error, because I still can't get consensus on your interpretation of that.
Well, that the individual for the property owner position still has to be a resident of the city of Guthrie.
That's your interpretation.
No, that's what the
Well,
ordinance
Bruce?
calls for.
Do you agree with, or is that something you're agreeing with, Bruce?
I'm totally confused by you guys' conversation since beginning of time on this one. So you guys are going to have to bring me up to speed on this, so.
I think we got to,
I think that there needs to be more discussion on the outline of all this. And it includes other boards. I found some other boards that have people on them that are not citizens of Guthrie. They don't live here,
There-
and they're sitting on these boards.
There
When
are-
those boards require it.
There are some, for instance, on the Historical Preservation Commission, the position of special knowledge, the ordinance specifically states that an individual does not have to be a resident of Guthrie. I interpreted that to also mean the property owner.
And
was my-
and there's two of those that are allowed on there, right?
Two, or
With special knowledge that don't
two
have to be a
special
citizen.
knowledge. I believe that's
Right,
correct.
and we only have one. And so we denied our other one, who didn't live here, who had special knowledge, but we denied him anyway.
I think special knowledge is our.
Okay, and so because we denied that, we were gonna sit down as a commission, as a council, and we were gonna discuss not only HP, but all of them from the beginning.
Wait, Can I ask you,
Every single
but
solitary one.
you guys mind, hang on one second? I know you guys are going to talk about this for 2 hours and never come to a resolution. Lynn, do you have any problem if we table this and go past this and maybe appoint you at a different time? We'll talk about it in 2 days, guys. I promise.
Perfect.
Do we need to table it officially?
Okay, let's have a motion.
motion to table.
Motion to table, is there a second?
Actually, I can die for lack of a nomination from you if you want.
No.
Then we just go
Well,
on.
I already made a nomination.
Oh, okay.
I already made the nomination.
Who seconded?
I did.
So the motion's to table, right?
Motion to table, second, further discussion. All,
No more discussion.
Well, wait, if you don't want to discuss, then let's just put Lynn on the board.
No, we're gonna have a discussion.
You guys are the ones that tabled it last time to discuss.
No, we're going to
We
have,
haven't discussed the damn.
we're going to have a discussion at our retreat in 2 days.
Well, I understand that, Bruce, but the way it was coming off is we weren't having a discussion.
No, we are.
I know we are now. Okay,
were all-
because
we
you
were-
said, you
okay, we were gonna hold
slung your
on.
sword and said, we're gonna have a
okay,
discussion.
okay,
Okay. City
manager
we have a motion and a second.
I mean, just do what we say we're gonna do is all
Table
I'm
the,
asking.
okay, we have a motion and a second to table the nomination.
Okay, sorry, Lynn,
Please.
that you had to be involved in that.
Submit your vote. Submit your vote, please.
Jeez.
The motion to table.
All votes right?
See the votes? Unanimous to table that item
Discuss it
for
again.
further discussion.
Sorry, man. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, discussion and possible action for canceling the July 5th City Council meeting. We have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes right?
Let's see the votes. Unanimous to cancel our Tuesday, July 5th City Council meeting. City Manager report.
We do have a retreat coming up in 2 days. Just kind of give you guys a little heads up. We're going to be going over our finances first and foremost, and after that, what I plan on doing is going through each and every department for you guys and letting you guys know where we're at and what we're currently working on. Then we'll have the discussion on where we'd like to go and proceed forward as a council, as a community, and as a city. So I want you guys to be able to bring your ideas and what you guys like to see and see what we can't do to work together and make this the best city in the state of Oklahoma to live in.